Right, good afternoon. Welcome to Insomnia I-71. Getting ready for a live streamed race here at the Intel booth with Simracing.GP. And I say live stream, this is being live streamed on SGP_racing on Twitch right now. And we've got a couple of ringers in the rigs and a couple of not ringers. We'll take you down who's who in just a moment, but at some point you're going to get to meet Rig 1. But as he is a proper esports driver, you can see that he cannot even join the track before looking at a setup on his phone and loading it on the car, making sure everything's as good as possible. And we will get these guys out on track as soon as possible. So welcome to those of you that are watching along at home as well. A couple of you joining us already. Thank you very much for that. And if you're wondering what you're seeing, this is the Insomnia I-71 Gaming Festival at the National Exhibition Centre in Birmingham, UK. There's still another full day of the show tomorrow, so if you find yourself with nothing to do tomorrow, then head on over. We've got 5 rigs here. I know you can only see 4 on the camera. That's because nobody... Oh, no, you can just about see Matt's face there. Right there. So you can just about see the 5th rig. So there's 5 rigs here. Thank you to Next Level Racing for providing the cockpits and seats. Thank you to Moser Racing for providing the wheels and pedals. And, of course, thank you to Intel and MSI for providing the PCs and the monitors. PCs being powered by the Intel Arc A770 graphics cards. And they haven't missed a beat all weekend, doing a great job. So I'm going to hand you over to Rig 2. Mr. Jonathan Earl, you need to turn the microphone on.
That's better.
That's better. Right, okay, so Johnny's going to try and get some practice in, but at the same time, he's going to talk to our very special guest in Rig 1. Known to some of you as UCOG or UKOG, otherwise known as George Boothby. So, John.
Hello, George. He's ignoring me. Hello over there, George.
Hello.
I'm going to have to pull off this. It's not going well. Yes. So, George, tell us, first things first, how did you get started in sim racing?
So I got started in sim racing when I was really young with, like, obviously Gran Turismo and stuff. And I really loved it, and then a game called Guitar Hero came out, and then that became the game that I played for about 15 years nearly. And then it was only since like COVID happened, I'd like established a streamer base and an audience, and I was getting a bit tired of hitting plastic buttons all day. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to try sim racing out, see what it's like. I've seen Jimmy Broadbent at Super GT doing loads of videos online. And I just slowly built up, got a rig, and I just found a bit of pace and managed to get into esports. So, yeah, I haven't looked back since. I've absolutely loved it.
I mean, the rise to the top from where you started is pretty fast. I mean, some of us have been doing it for years and can't get close to you. What would you say is the biggest challenge you faced coming into sim racing?
I'd say the biggest challenge for normal people going into sim racing is just getting a rig, really, and getting started out. I feel like a lot of people aspire, they see like these crazy rigs online and aspire to get them. They should really put more focus into just getting something, either with a gamepad or just with a control, with your controller, or with a really starter wheel. Whack it on your desk, see what you like, and if it is something you're enjoying, then you can start thinking about getting, these crazy rigs that you see. I just hit someone. But yeah, you can start getting these big crazy rigs and build up from there. This is like the end game, what we're driving right now. This is what you should aspire to get. I think you're starting out, see if you like it. It's not as intimidating as it seems.
Exactly that. People look at this and go, "Oh, how do I get to this?" But in reality, bolted the wheel to the desk, gamepad, you sorted. Oh, we've had a crash. Where's the keyboard? That's on here, isn't it?
It's entertaining watching you two not being able to talk and drive at the same time. So clearly, even a hands-free kit wouldn't help you guys out.
Here's one for you, George. Biggest sim racing achievement?
Wait, what's that, sorry? My biggest achievement, probably it's a tie really between last year with Veloce, we won the SRO Endurance Championship, and then this year I was able to win the Sprint Championship. So that's like the main thing for this game, basically. It's, you know, so I'm really proud of that, and yeah, I hope I can keep it up for next year and not just get worse and worse with age.
I mean, that's what we're all hoping for, so we can actually catch you. But I can't drive and talk here.
Right, well, John, thank you for that.
Sorry.
I'm going to get you to introduce our other guest in just a moment. But I'm just going to quickly kneel down between these two guys, which means that I'm never getting up again. I've got Mr. Johnny Ashley here. Round of applause for Johnny Ashley. It's all right, none of you know who Johnny is. I know, it's fine. Johnny owns the Onid racing community, which is about 3,500 racers around the world. Johnny, how long have you been sim racing?
Many years, but I've been doing Onid for the last 2.5.
Excellent. And what's your biggest sim racing achievement? Is it beating me?
On a weekly, yes, beating you in AMS2 and ACC. On a weekly is definitely the best thing about running Onid. And apart from that, Onid is my biggest success in sim racing. I absolutely love it, and I've got a great team around me and good drivers as well.
And in Rig 5, we've got Mr. Matt Holman. Matt is... so there's a poll going on Twitch, by the way, which is who is going to take pole position in this race. And believe it or not, Matt Holman is currently the favourite.
Are you joking? Whoever's voted on that is very, very misinformed.
Well, your mum says hello anyway. But John, if you can just introduce us to who we've got in Rig 3, and then we will move on towards qualifying.
So, I think, can we hear it? I think she's pulling concentration, but if you want to introduce yourself, Street.
Hello, I'm Chloe XO, full-time content creator, variety streamer. I don't know, variety streamer, play every type of game. I'm really not good at racing games, so I do apologize for the content right now, but yeah. Play Apex, first-person shooters, strategy games. I love chess. I'm about to get knocked out by a... Okay, he's gone. Who is this? Okay.
That's Johnny, just crash into him, it's fine.
His nickname is Johnny
Aw.
Crash, by the way, so there you
I'm
go.
just a winner, right?
Right, we are just moving into qualifying then. So these guys will get one flying lap. Yes, just one. So they go out lap, flying lap, and then we will move the session on into the race. And it'll be a 12-minute race where these guys will battle away against each other around Monza. If you're not familiar with the sim that you're watching, this is Assetto Corsa Competizione. And yes, you do have to say it in a fake Italian accent. And this is developed by Kunos some other Italian word, Kunos anyway, and this is the official GT simulator that's out on the market. And right now these guys are driving BMW M4 GT3 cars around Monza, so if you're an F1 fan, this is where the last Grand Prix was. The Italian Grand Prix was at Monza, and you can now see the action on the screen. And our pole position favourite has already binned it on his way out of the pits. Oh, did you get a bit of assistance in that, Matt?
Bit of a bin, it's all right, mate, don't worry.
Okay, never mind. So let's see how they get on now. So Dan's going to keep us up to speed with the action on track, and we'll let you know lap times and all that kind of stuff as and when we can. So we know that we've got George and John and Chloe and Johnny and Matt, but for now they will forever be known as rigs 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Just to help you out with knowing who's who. Rig 1 is at the furthest side in the orange t-shirt, that's George. Then you've got rigs 2, 3, 4 and 5 ending up with Matt here in number 5. So once again, for those of you at home, thank you for joining us on the SGP Racing Twitch. Plenty of you joining us, so really appreciate that. Great to see you joining in. And thankfully, we actually seem to have some stream audio today. So you're not just hearing some weird buzzing noise. So kudos to the guys that have been helping out with the audio this weekend, because they fixed it this morning and they did a great job of it. Right, so we're on board with Rig 2. So this is John Earl in the McDonald's car. That's not making the fat man hungry at all, thank you for that. And he's across the start-finish line to start his qualifying lap. Even time to give his nose a little scratch as he came down towards T1. Retafilio chicanes. A little late on the brakes. He does miss the apex there. He will be in full sweat mode right now. Pushes out of turn 2. Now heads towards the Curva Grande. Completely flat out right-hander, but takes him round to the second chicane of the lap. It's the kind of track that when you look at the map, it looks relatively straightforward. But you jump behind the wheel of one of these cars and it is anything but, especially with those wicked sausage curbs that can catch you out at any moment. So here comes John then down into the first Lesmo corner. That's a word you have to be careful how you say when you've got a microphone in your hand. But Rig 2 now moves into the second Lesmo corner. Can use a lot of that runoff on the outside. Track limits, not so much of an issue there. And now down underneath the bridge. That bridge carries the old oval circuit of Monza. And this is the Ascari chicane. So use as much of the curb on the inside of each part of that as possible. Flat out through the left-hander, right on the track limits there. So John certainly not hanging around. He's got his full concentration face on right now as well. But George next to him is gripping the wheel tightly, going for it as well. So we're going to start to see our first lap times any minute now. In fact, I think John will be the first car across the line. So here's John's lap time. It is a 1:49.790. Rig 4 comes across the line, 2.4 off the pace. Next up is Rig 1, and what does he do? It's a 1:48.2, so 1.5 seconds to the good for George there. No surprise. John's a pretty quick peddler himself, but not quite at George's level. Rig 5 coming along nicely. Heading down towards the world-famous Parabolica corner, now known as the Alboreto curve, but nobody calls it that. Oh, and he's sideways. He's just about held it. I saw his arm movement out the corner of my eye before I saw the car going. He did hold it, but that will have cost him a lot of time across the line. But he goes third, 2.3 off the pace. So here comes Rig 3. So Chloe is doing a great job coming down the penultimate straight now, down towards that Parabolica corner. And you know what? Fair play, jumping in a rig for the first time, up against some real-life sim racers and giving it a go in front of all of you here at Insomnia I-71. Big thanks to Intel for hosting Simracing.GP this weekend. And if you don't know who we are, we're a platform where racers and communities can come together. And Rig 3 across the line, unfortunately not a valid lap time, so we'll start 5th. But that takes us to the end of our qualifying session. I notice everyone's still out there trying to sweat it out, but Dan has now said, no, enough's enough, and we're moving on to the race. So, John, can you just talk to George about his qualifying lap?
How did you manage that?
I mean, that was the sweatiest race I think either of us have ever done in our life.
I was trying.
No, it's obviously, you know, I've got a lot of experience with this game. This car, not so much, but, you know, this game is a lot about, and just sim racing in general is just putting the hours in. You know, people do have natural talent, you know, it does show, but I think anyone can get fast. It's just putting in the time, really.
It's exactly that. To get to the top level, it's a lot of practice. I've tried. I can't get near you, but yeah, it's impressive what you do on there. So, especially in a car you don't drive. So, how are you feeling for the race? What do you think?
If I can take you out, that'll be a positive.
Okay. I'm going to have to try and get him at turn 1 then, I think.
Listen, what have we told you already? No sending it.
Can I send George at least, please?
No, you can send it on Johnny and that's it.
Okay then, that's fine. I don't mind that. I'll have to catch him again though.
So we are now waiting to get going. So you see as a countdown to the session start, 45 seconds to go. And what that means is you notice these guys aren't lined up on the grid. It's not a standing start like you get in Formula 1. GT Racing have rolling starts. So these guys will take you through the final corner, and then when the lights go green, they will be racing. And of course, when we do go racing, I want you guys to give them a really good cheer as we head down towards turn 1. Warning though, turn 1 at Monza is famous for incidents. Now, we managed to do okay yesterday, but some of these guys are pushing a little hard. And Johnny crashes on the grid, so, anything could happen. Right, everyone has pressed drive. They are in their cars. They are ready to go. And the formation starts right about now, so you'll start to see the first cars pulling away in just a moment. And there they go. So the slow formation. The cars ghost into each other during the formation. It allows everyone to... You'll see them accelerate and brake hard, and they're dragging their brakes, so accelerating whilst braking at the same time. What they're trying to do is get as much temperature into the front brakes as possible, but also that temperature then bleeds into the tyres through the wheel rims. So the physics that you get in these games are really realistic. Both the setup work that you do in the car is just like real life, and also the kind of stuff that you do to get your car up to temperature as well. But you notice they're not weaving away, because that does cause some marbling of the tyres. Right, George has pulled off to one side. He's going to do a last to first challenge here. So what that means is that Jonathan Earl takes the lead. Rig 5, which is Matt Holman, into second. Johnny's going for a Johnny send up the inside, though. The two of them side by side into turn 1. Is there going to be any contact? Surprisingly not. They go through side by side. Good action there from the two Onid Racing boys. A little nudge in the side from the two of them. Now side by side into the Curva Grande. This is for second place. And they are side by side still as they head up towards the second chicane. The car on the yellow car is Rig 5, Matt Holman. So Johnny goes round the outside into the chicane and takes the position. That is the cleanest overtake I've ever seen from Johnny. And we're now going to use that as video evidence that he can do it cleanly. In the meantime, though, Matt straight back on it. John Earl is out front, 1.7 to the good. Matt late on the brakes. A touch on the back of Johnny. Johnny gets it sideways. Holds it. No, he doesn't. He's round. That, sir, was a punt. So I don't know whether Dan's doing any live stewarding, but there might be a penalty added for that one. Yeah, he's doing live stewarding. You can see it all right now on the screen. And yeah, there we go. Plus 5 seconds for Rig 5. Well done. Thank you. So yeah, it's the other great thing about this sim is you can add penalties live. So when communities do really big races, endurance races or big grid races, big, properly formed events, then they will quite often have live stewarding teams that actually sit and watch the race. They get a spreadsheet that automatically fills with any contact that's happened out on track. Then they review the replays, decide who's at fault, and they apply penalties live, just like they do in real-world motorsport. Yeah, so all of these sims are designed to allow us to do all that kind of stuff. And of course, we can do all this kind of broadcasting as well. So Dan over here is, give everyone a wave, Dan. That was really enthusiastic. I meant everyone in the crowd, not on the camera. There we go. There's Dan. Dan is controlling the cameras and making sure that you are watching the best action on screen, which makes us wonder why we're watching Johnny Ashley right now, but never mind. So here is your race leader. There's John Earl out front, 4.4 to the good. But you'll notice that George is up into third now and chasing down Matt Holman for second. He doesn't need to worry too much because he's in a net second anyway because of Matt's 5-second penalty for his naughties on lap 1. But George pushing on, using all of the track and a little bit more, and you see the amount of speed that allows him to carry down the straight. So he goes to the right-hand side of Rig 5. Matt immediately tucks in behind to try and pick up a bit of slipstream. Please don't do what you did to Johnny. Oh my God, you had me worried there. Yes, but okay, we got away with it. So Rig 5 now is down to third. Rig 3 has got a drive-through, so the drive-through can be picked up by track limits. So if you exceed the track limits too many times, you will end up with a drive-through. We will get the stream back on the screen in just a second. There we go. We're back on screen here at the NEC. So that drive-through has been cancelled out by Dan. I think that was a case of Dan trying to do just one too many things at the same time. But meanwhile, I tell you what, Matt Holman is not getting dropped that much by George Boothby. Matt Holman is not getting dropped by George Boothby. Woo! There we go. Rig 4 though, so Johnny's had a moment. Let's have a look at it on replay. Late on the brakes, down into T1, and just decided to bail out of that one. Oh, he's taking the proper line though, through the little penalty chicane. Well done, Johnny. And he didn't even take any of the polystyrene out as well. So I was on track with John Earl earlier, and there seemed to be a lot of polystyrene scattered everywhere. But just goes to show you can do it without. But meanwhile, what you want to start watching is that gap between first and second. So top of the leaderboard there where it says Rig 2 has done 2 laps. In a moment when Rig 1 gets through the sector, you can see that the gap between them is 4.295 seconds. So about 4.3 seconds between the two of them. But watch that gap, because I think George is now on a mission to see how quickly he can catch John. So we are going to watch that tick down. And in terms of lap times, by the way, so Rig 1 has the fastest lap of the race, 1:47.992. That is quick. 48.8 is all that John can manage in Rig 2 right now. So where's the gap now? It's down to 4.0. And it is coming down. So we will keep our eyes on Rig 1. In fact, let's go on board with George for a lap if we can, Dan, please. So you can all see what it's like to do a lap with a proper esports sim racer. I will tell you though, this is a car that George isn't used to driving, so he's jumped in this and given it a go. And if you think, well, surely they're all the same, they're really, really not. All the cars in the game, very, very different to drive. We've all got our favourites, we've all got the ones that we avoid, and some people love the weird ones. For me, I tend to go with the BMW because I need something that's stable to drive. And that's not the leader directly in front, so that's a back marker. Oh, trying to get around the back marker, and there is contact, So that's the two MSI people making contact together. Never mind. Fly on the wall in that debrief room later on. Rule number 1 in motorsport, don't hit your teammate. And it's happened already. And it almost happened again. In fact, this is replay. So they're still nudging each other along. Oh, and it's payback. Chloe's in the wall. Here comes the replay of what happened. Meanwhile, by the way, Matt Holman has slipped himself back up into second place. And John Earl is thinking, hang on a minute, I might have a career-defining moment coming up. I might be able to beat George Boothby in a live race at a gaming festival, and he's doing so. In fact, right now, he's 7 seconds clear of our second place car, which is actually Matt Holman, who's just done his personal fastest lap, a 1:49.8 that time around, whereas George is doing 47.7s on a quick lap. 4 minutes to go then. Once again, for those of you watching both here at the NEC and those of you watching live at home as well, thank you for joining us. This is the Simracing.GP sim racing rigs on the Intel stand. So if you're coming along to the NEC, for those of you that are watching on the stream, of course, then you'll find us in the main hall, in the back corner, right next to the food. It's almost like they saw me come in. They went, right, we'll put it next to the food. He doesn't have to walk too far to the food. That sounds like a good idea. And we'll be here for the rest of today and all tomorrow as well. Plenty of hot lap sessions. And also, for those of you that are here at the NEC today, come back at 3 o'clock today. We've got, 3:30. 3:30 today. We've got 5 Army lads coming down to have a race. And their officer down on the Army stand is actually getting them on their own rig, which is down there as well, and they are qualifying against each other to see who are the fastest 5 from the Army. and they are going to come down and do a live streamed race with us at 3:30. Right, so unfortunately Chloe has had some damage. We know where from. It was all George's fault. But what it does mean is that she's free to have a chat. So Stevie, chat to Chloe.
Yeah, hello. So, you're in the pits.
Yeah.
Can you tell us what happened?
I'm really bad at this. I haven't played a racing game since Gran Turismo 2, so that was a long time ago. And now I'm up against 4 very talented people. So I was a lap behind, and then I decided to just reverse back and try and get in their way, and then I ended up in the garage.
You did manage to take your teammate out though, so successful. But have you enjoyed it?
Yeah, it's been awesome. I've had a lot of fun. I want to do this again. I want one in my house now.
Well, Adam's the man to promote that then with Simracing.GP, where we run lots of community events, league events. So, yeah, we'd love to see you on there.
Yeah, I'll give it a go. I'd love to give it another go. Get a little bit better with my driving skills.
Thank you, Stevie.
Thanks.
We're down
Thank
into
you for having me.
down into the last 1 minute and 20 of this race then. So big gaps all the way through the field. John Earl is your race leader. That's in Rig 2. And for those of you that can't see his face, it is full sweat concentration mode right now. Look at that, the eyes piercing through the monitor. Oh, and you can tell he's getting sweaty. You just had to wipe his hands on his trousers. So I hope that's what it was anyway. Yeah, so John out in front, Rig 5. Matt Holman down here in second, holding his own. Rig 1 then, George Boothby is in third. Still going. Sorry, Dan just told me something that I couldn't quite believe.
Johnny's gone quiet because he's catching George.
Johnny Ashley is catching George Boothby. Words I'd never thought I would say. In fact, the gap is down to 0.5 of a second. Here he comes alongside, then down into turn 1, and it looks like a fairly easy pass, but will Johnny make it stick? No, George later on the brakes down into turn 1, so Johnny can now tuck into the slipstream as they head towards the Curva Grande onto what will be the final lap, I think. Looking at where Johnny's on track, yet definitely only 8 seconds left on the timer, but this is your battle. It is Rig 1 versus Rig 4 for third place, the final step on the podium. Johnny going for a send. Johnny's famous for his sends. I don't think he's going to make that one stick. No, he's across the chicane, and he's going to have to let George back through to avoid a penalty. He does so, but it gives him a chance to go again. So he tucks back in behind as they go through the first of the Lesmo corners. Oh, Rig 2. That's John Earl in the wall, trying to make it interesting on the final lap. Either that or just crashing, one of the two. We're going to see a replay. This is your replay of said incident. Oh, he's hit the sausage curb on the inside, and that's exactly what's done for him. We'll swap back to the live action in just a moment. Here it is. Here's your battle, and Johnny's in front. So Johnny's got in front of George, knocked George off the podium, and Johnny's gone full sweat mode as well. He's gripping the wheel tighter than I've ever seen him grip the wheel before. As John Earl gets across the line in first place. So well done, John. John takes the win. Rig 5, Matt Holman in second place. But here comes Johnny Ashley then through the final corner. He's going to make it a photo finish with George Boothby just behind him. But there you go. There's a moment for the Onid boys. They've just beaten a proper esports driver. Maybe by default, but never mind. Right, so well done, John.
Thanks. I tried to throw it away.
You did? Was that you holding back, or did you genuinely just go wide and hit a sausage curb?
I was trying to get the fastest lap off George. Wasn't my wisest choice
hard.
I've done today.
Have a chat with George about what happened.
What happened, mate? What happened?
Disaster struck. We caught over a back marker, and it is what it is. That was a good fun. That was good fun, and I appreciate you guys letting us come down here. You know, it's great.
No worries, thanks for coming. I thought you were going to get me. I was sweating with you coming up behind me, but traffic management, you know that. It's important. Well done, though, mate. Thank you for joining us.
I love the fact that John's trying to make it out that it was George's fault. It's like,
No.
George, it's your fault.
It's
poor
always
traffic
George.
management.
It is. It's always his fault.
Oh, right.
Race driver excuses.
John just wants to make sure it looks like a genuine win for him.
Yeah.
But, anyway, well
It's the only
done.
time I'll beat him.
Well done, John.
Thanks, Adam.
First round's on you tonight.
Oh, no. George is coming as well, apparently. So.
Oh, very good. Okay, well, thank you to our guests. I think the two from MSI probably need to go and have a little chat somewhere about that. You know, it's awkward conversation coming up, I'm sure. Thank you to our ringers joining in as well. And we've got Johnny and Matt from Onid who came and jumped in. For those of you who want to come and have a go yourself, give us a couple of minutes to get all the rigs reset and out of race mode. And you can come and do some hot laps for yourself in the same car around the same track. And then come back at 3:30 today for some Army lads having a race. Thank you very much.